Good evening, I'm Nolan Johannes.
And I'm Karen Harch. Tonight in the news.
They tried to prevent giardiasis and ended up with a cancer-causing chemical. I'm Bob Reynolds.
People in Scranton don't have to boil their water anymore. I'm Dan Fiorucci. I'll tell you about the end of the boil advisory.
Plus, paying tribute to the man who served half his life as a local congressman.
Tom Clark will eventually warm things up, and Joe Zone has the baseball story.
All next on Newswatch 16 Update.
In your car, listen to Newswatch 16 on WKRZ AM 1340.
Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Joe Zone on sports. This is the Newswatch 16 Update.
Good evening. It seems it's getting tougher and tougher to keep our drinking water pure.
When the giardiasis problem hit Lackawanna and Luzerne counties, officials in Hazleton tried to prevent an outbreak in their city by adding more chlorine to their water. But as Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds reports, that plan has created another problem in some of Hazleton's water.
It's called trihalomethanes. It's a cancer causer in animals, and it's been found in higher than normal levels in some of Hazleton's drinking water.
I personally, if the water had that amount of trihalomethanes in it, wouldn't get all that excited. I'd say, hey guys, get your act together and get those levels down. I really wouldn't worry too much.
Dr. Brian Redmond is a scientist and says trihalomethanes form when chlorine is used to kill bacteria in water. Hazleton city water officials found the increased levels of trihalomethanes after they began to increase chlorine levels in an effort to prevent an outbreak of giardiasis.
It's very unfortunate because the notification undoubtedly is going to alarm a lot of people. I mean, if you logically examine the notification and examine it and accept it as it's explained, there shouldn't be any problem. But unfortunately, a lot of people won't understand what actually has happened.
Officials say increased trihalomethane levels could be in the taps of 2,500 homes and businesses in the Heights and Terrace sections of Hazleton. But everyone we talk to stresses the water is safe to drink. There is a way to prevent all of this from coming up again, and that's to filter Hazleton's water supply. But that could be very expensive.
We certainly could not afford to do that without some very, very, very substantial rate increases, and maybe they just would not be feasible.
The Water Authority knows that it's being put in a bad situation and realizes until the systems are filtered, this situation could crop up again. Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16, Hazleton.
Scranton's water has been given a clean bill of health, and city officials now say it's safe to drink. But as Night Beat reporter Dan Fiorucci says, the news that the city's water boil advisory has been lifted is being taken with a grain of salt.
We are not Mexico. We don't want to be. We don't want to be known to be. And we don't want to be the place where you can't go to because you can't drink the water.
A few months ago, Mayor James McNulty was irate.
It's certainly a damn emergency for the people of the city of Scranton.
Today, city officials were relieved.
The test results from Dr. Riggs in California showed no evidence of giardiasis and no other evidence of any other forms of parasites or bacteria. It was a fairly clean and fairly negative test.
After 2.5 months, a boil advisory affecting 90,000 private citizens and businessmen in Scranton has been lifted, and no one was happier than restaurant owners.
We're overjoyed.
What kind of soup would you like?
But even though the water in Scranton has now been declared free of parasites, lots of PG&W customers said their water drinking habits had been changed by the giardiasis episode.
I don't think that's going to stop people from boiling their water altogether because, kind of makes you wonder if it's really, still within the water and how long it was there before they even warned us about it.
I'm not going back to drinking city water. It's terrible tasting.
And even at the water tank at Memorial Stadium, lots of people said their attitudes toward tap water had changed for good.
Spring water, if I had to buy it myself, I'm not drinking the water in Scranton. I won't do it, I'm sorry.
And so after 2.5 months, people here in Scranton finally have something they can drink to. The ironic thing is, many of them say they'll celebrate the end of the boil advisory over a glass of spring water. Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16, Scranton.
There may soon be a new law in Pennsylvania to help make amusement parks safer. The State House today passed a bill that would require amusement parks and carnivals to have their rides inspected and to carry insurance to cover any accidents. Under the bill, parks would have to be inspected once a month. Carnival rides would be checked every time they are moved. The House made some changes in the Senate's version of the bill, so now the Senate has to vote on it again before the amusement park safety bill can become law. Still ahead, watching the water go down.
Plus, a little later, we'll watch the sun disappear behind the moon shadow.
Would you like to know what Miss Judy, Marie Osmond, and John Schneider all have in common?
We're all part of a very special team that's out to help the kids of northeastern and central Pennsylvania lead healthy and happy lives.
It's the Children's Miracle Network Telethon to benefit the Children's Hospital at Geisinger Medical Center.
It'll be broadcast live right here on WNEP TV, Channel 16. But remember, 100% of the money that is raised in northeastern and central Pennsylvania is going to stay right here.
Join us and make
a miracle happen.
Even though the rain has stopped for now, all that water is still causing problems in our area. In Scranton, this big hole opened up at the entrance to the Morgan Manor apartment complex. Neighbors say it started subsiding yesterday morning, and with water rushing in, it's getting bigger and bigger. Right now, it's about 20 feet long and up to 8 feet deep. People who live here in Scranton are worried that the entire entrance may collapse. They tell us no one is willing to do anything about the sinking ground. Mother Nature has taken care of any flood fears. It looks as though the threat of high waters here along the Delaware River is over. Officials say the river level has dropped and poses no danger. It's the same along the Susquehanna River here in Wilkes-Barre. The river crested earlier today, and officials say the Susquehanna is on its way down.
In Clinton County, it's protection from flooding that's on the minds of some of the town's residents. Newswatch 16's Craig Stevens reports on a system of dikes that Lock Haven is trying to get.
This is the Susquehanna River in Lock Haven, which has overflowed its banks, causing flooding here 20 times in the last 131 years. Now, the worst flood you and I probably remember is Agnes back in 1972, when floodwaters here caused $135 million in damage. All because, as you can see, there is no levee or flood wall protecting the town. So when the Susquehanna floods, the water comes right over here into town. But that may soon change. This drilling is in preparation for an $80 million system of dikes and flood walls around the town. Those dikes would raise the flood stage here from 21 to 38 feet. Beyond a flood so severe, it would only happen once every 500 years. The possibility of dikes makes a lot of people like Charlie Gephardt feel a lot better.
It would increase the property value here in Lock Haven, give the people incentive to move back in Lock Haven. And also it may bring industry back here in the Lock Haven.
But others, like Carol Webster, who lives along the river, would rather take her chance with floods.
Because I don't care for a 17-foot, looking out my living room window or my front porch at a 17-foot wall and see nothing.
Besides protecting the town from the Susquehanna River, there would be other benefits from a dike system in Lock Haven. First of all, new boating and recreational facilities for the people who live here. On top of that, thousands of new jobs that would be created when work on the dikes got underway. And on top of that, a new drawing card for industry. The town could promise new businesses a place to locate without any fear of flooding. All this, of course, depends on Congress allocating the money to get the work underway. Craig Stevens, Newswatch 16, Lock Haven.
There's an industry already in Lock Haven that smiles every time PP&L sends the electric bill. The Hammermill Paper Company recently started installing a $10 million turbine system that turns coal into steam. The steam makes not only enough electricity to power the Lock Haven plant, but even more. More that PP&L, under federal law, must buy from Hammermill. Today, the utility signed a contract promising to buy that power. It'll be cheaper than what it costs PP&L to produce its own power at its own plants.
Next on Newswatch 16 Update, meteorologist Tom Clark will head outside, and for once, it's not raining.
Tom, is it true that you're growing webbed feet?
It's true.
That's really
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm feathers, and I'm beginning to quack at times. It's wild. It is unusual. No rain falling now, and we'll talk about tomorrow and the weekend when we come back.
You're invited to join WNEP TV and the Children's Hospital at Geisinger Medical Center for the Children's Miracle Network Telethon. Miss Judy and your favorite WNEP personalities will join Marie Osmond, John Schneider, along with great entertainers in an exciting telethon to help children from all over our area. You're also invited to the Children's Miracle Carnival on Sunday at Geisinger Medical Center in Danville. Food and fun for the whole family. So help make a miracle happen right here on WNEP 16.
Earlier tonight, as I was driving in at sunset, we actually saw the sun tonight.
Yes.
And some spooky fog in the low-lying hill sections, Tom. Do you suppose that fog's still around?
I suspect perhaps in a few valleys, but for the most part, it's fog-free and incredibly rain-free. Hasn't rained in 8 hours. That must be some kind of a record. Unbelievable. Hey, we had that solar eclipse today, and you say you missed it? Well, here it is right here, as it looked through a very powerful telescope. And it happened around noon. The moon passed directly in front of the sun. And the moon was just far enough away from the Earth to allow a ring of sunlight to shine through, broken only by the highest mountains on the moon's surface. That's known as an annular or ring eclipse. Here's the shadow of the moon passing over Montgomery, Alabama. Boy, it got dark down there. And here you can see the shadow coming up from over New Mexico in the lower left, as seen by a weather satellite. Incredible. Yes, that darkest path went over the south of us, but look at all the clouds in the east, and look at this down here. That's Tropical Storm Boris. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at the current readings outside now. We have partly cloudy skies overhead. There's your temperature, 51. Humidity is 86%. The wind now from the west at 4. Barometer holding steady. Rainfall in this backyard since it all began on Monday. Just over 3 inches. That's something else. Today's high, 59. The low so far, 50. Normals, 73 and 52. The record high for this date, the low 90s. That way back in 1929. And the rain has ended over the area now. The Newswatch 16-color satellite picture. This photograph just in. Look along the eastern seaboard. We have that very slow-moving front all the way from New England down to Florida. Up to 7 inches of rain has fallen in northern New Jersey. And at Newark, it's the wettest May in more than 135 years. Unbelievable. Down to the south, a lot of heavy rain since Saturday. Upwards to 18 inches has fallen across southern Florida. But this line moving very, very slowly out to sea. There's the line of clearing that came in to allow for a sunset this evening. And out to the west, well, they're having some thunderstorms in southern California. Lightning has ignited a rash of brush fires down that way, and they're having some problems. But look out in the nation's midsection. Hey, man, that air is coming our way. Look for a definite improvement over the next few days as we head into the weekend. Just a few clouds around for tomorrow yet, however. Now here's the forecast for tonight. Well, for the rush hour tomorrow morning, something unusual. It will be cold with temperatures in the 40s, but dry. You can leave the wipers off on your way to work. 45 in Canton, Clark Summit, the middle 40s. Freeland, that's a cold spot at 45. 48 in Minersville, Milton in the middle 40s tomorrow morning. Dress warm heading out to work tomorrow. Now, looking better, folks. Sunny intervals I'm looking for tomorrow. There'll be some cloudiness around and nothing more than a stray shower. Probably not even 1/100th of an inch of rain will fall tomorrow, so it's good news. 56 the high in Montrose. Hey, on the cool side, 58, 44, near 60, Mount Carbon, Mifflinville, and Jersey Shore. That westerly wind allowing drier air to filter in. Now, if you keep track of the sunrise and the sunset, this is what the times are for tomorrow. Sunrise and sunset. Almost 8:30 now. Cold tonight. Tomorrow morning, the low here about 47. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, but there will be some rays of sun. Count on it. 57 the high. That's a good 15 to 18 degrees below normal. Look at Friday. A nice day. Lots of sunshine near 70. Back up to normal temperature-wise on Saturday. A nice day. On Sunday, the Children's Miracle Telethon Carnival down at Geisinger Medical Center in Danville. Partly cloudy skies. There may be a shower, but come on down anyway. We're all going to be there. And nicer tomorrow.
All right.
My webbed feet are doing just fine.
Okay.
The telethon is coming June the 2nd and 3rd.
We got sports here at least. The Phillies are chasing the Chicago Cubs. Well, Phillies having all kinds of problems right now because it's raining. 2-2, 9th inning, rain in Philadelphia, so you can tell Clarkie it's coming back this way. 2-2, 9th, Phillies delayed by rain. Okay, as I said, the Phillies chasing the Chicago Cubs went in tonight a half game back. Let's check the highlights of that game. Take a look at the base hit here early. Durham with a double gets 2 runs in for the Cubs, and they lead 2-0. Then in the 4th, Dernier, you know what? He went 5 for 5 tonight. He had 5 hits a couple of weeks ago, last week, in a game. That makes it 3-0. Sandberg follows with a double, and that makes it 5-zip. The big story in this game, that guy right there, Steve Trout, pitched 7 2/3 without a hit, but look at this cheapie here by Al Hall. That's ruled a base hit, a single. The Braves end up with just 2 hits, and the Cubs win at the final 6-2. Check the scoreboard. Phillies and San Francisco 2-2 in the 9th. Chicago knocked off Atlanta. The final there 6-2. Los Angeles over Montreal 4-1. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. That is now in the 13th inning. It's 3-3. St. Louis and Houston 4-3. That's in the 8th. San Diego. The Mets for the 3rd night in a row postponed. Yankees are trying to get out of California with their lives. They lead now 2-1 in the 2nd. Guidry on the mound for the Yankees. The team everybody's chasing, you know, the Detroit Tigers, they're out in Oakland. They got out of there today with a win. Look at this, a bases-loaded walk. It's Oakland, a run early in the game. That made it 1-0. Only run Oakland got. It looked like it might hold up for a while, but then this one off the wall for a triple gets a run in. That ties the game up. Infield hit follows here. That'll tie it up at 1-1. And then later on, 9th inning, it's still 1-1. Kirk Gibson comes to the plate, hits his 7th home run of the year. Final score, 2-1. The Tigers win it. There's Gibson. There's the long blow. The Tigers 5-4 on the road trip. Check this scoreboard. 2-1, 2-1. More scores now as we move it along. Baltimore beat Seattle. The Orioles are sneaking in there. Boston beat Minnesota. Jim Rice had a home run. Milwaukee, Cleveland split a doubleheader. Toronto leads Chicago 2-0 in the 8th. Kansas City, Texas. The final there, Texas over Kansas City 7-3. Here's one of the girls that I'll be pulling for this weekend in the U.S. Olympic gymnastics trials down in Florida. She's 14-year-old Tracy Butler from the Allentown Parkettes, youngest girl in the trials.
To do well. I've been working hard for it, and I hope all the hard work pays off. If it doesn't work, then I'll have 4 more years till the next Olympics, and I'll still be at the right about age to compete there too.
Tammy Smith is another Allentown girl with a chance at the Olympics. The 17-year-old finished 13th in the recent USA Championships, but has to crack the top 10 to make the Olympic training team.
Well, if I hit all of my routines, I think I can come in the top 10, and then they go to training camp, and then they pick you how well you practice.
Both Smith and Butler are rated in the top 30 in the country. They'll need to improve on that this weekend, and we'll be pulling for them. Best tennis players in the world are in Paris for the French Open. No problems today for the big guns. Noah and McEnroe won today. You take a look at the action between Noah, and he had some problems with 5 sets, but McEnroe won easily. And yes, a playoff for college football. College football national championship is possible. An NCAA committee researched the possibilities and came up with 2 plans. Both would involve games after the bowl games and before the Super Bowl. It's just a survey. Fish and game forecast for tomorrow. Boy, you can get fish out in the parking lot. Who the heck has to go out in the stream? 3:15 tomorrow.
Okay, Joe. Thank you so much, sir. And still ahead, 80 years old and still going strong.
The Valley with a Heart pays tribute to Dan Flood when we come back.
The man most remembered for his part in pulling the Wyoming Valley back together after the Agnes flood was honored tonight. Former U.S. Congressman Daniel Flood was given a nonpartisan testimonial tonight. Democrats and Republicans gathered to honor him for his 40 years he served in the House. For the team, thank you for being with us.
Good night.